Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Yui and I hope that you can subscribe. And today I'm going to be sharing with you 7 stab wounds that you can do really last minute with things around your house. These stab wounds are also brilliant for pranks and they will definitely scare your friends. Make sure to comment what your favourite stab wound was, and yeah, let's get into today's video. So let's start with creating this super realistic foot stab. You will need an old shoe for this DIY, as once you cover it in blood there is no way of getting the stain out of it. You will also need a plastic knife. Let's now stab our shoe with our fake knife. Hold it next to the shoe and decide how deep you want the knife to be. Then, mark it with a pen so you know where to cut. Once you've done that, you can cut along the marker you made. To keep the knife from falling off the shoe, you will need to add a lot of hot glue to the knife and then push it into the shoe where you want your stab to be. Now you can put on your Halloween costume and your stabbed shoe and pour lots and lots of fake blood. I think this is a great DIY and you can totally prank your friends and family with this DIY. This year, Halloween is in the school term, and so let's use our stationery as stab wounds instead of doing our homework. To start, you need to remove the ink from inside the pen. You can do this by pulling on the tip of the pen and it should come right out. Using a knife, I'm carefully scoring where I want to cut my pen. I suggest cutting it a little bit more than halfway. You can then just break it with your hands. With some fake blood, use the ink cartridge to add blood inside the pen. To seal the blood inside, just add some hot glue over the open end. To add it to our body, we need a platform to stick it to the skin. Pipe some hot glue onto a surface that you can easily peel off the glue from. Once the glue had time to cool down a little, I use my fingers to blend it out at the edges. Once it is fully dry, peel it off from the surface and with some eyelash glue, you can add it onto your skin. So to add it onto the skin, I'm first adding some eyelash glue onto the platform and I'm letting that dry for as long as the instructions say it needs to dry. And then I'm just adding it onto the skin and holding it there until it's dry. To help it blend into the skin, I'm just using a bit of foundation. To add dimension to the wound, I'm using some black powder and I'm putting that around the stab wound. And finally, I'm using a lot and a lot of fake blood. And look, I stabbed myself with a pen. Joking, lol. Doesn't it look so good, and I think it looks really great for Halloween. And also, if you wanted to see the behind the scenes of this video, you need to go follow me on Instagram. So everything that I film in a day is going up on my shop's Instagram. So it's Shop DIYs with Yui on Instagram. So make sure to follow that for behind the scenes of every video I do. Now, back to the video, I'm going to show you how to make this gross pin stab in your finger. I'm going to be using a sewing needle for this DIY. To cut the sewing needle in half, I'll be using some wire cutters, and to stop the needles from flying all over my room, I'm just placing a cloth over the bowl and cutting the needles. To add the needle to my finger, I'll be using tissue paper. I'm pulling the tissue paper apart so that I have a thinner piece to use. Once that is done, I'm shredding the paper to fit my finger. With some hot glue, I'm adding the pin directly upright in the glue. Using eyelash glue, you can add a thin layer to the skin and apply the needle on top. Using foundation, I'm blending the tissue paper with the skin. Using black powder, I'm adding it just around the stab for more dimension. The final thing to do is add plenty of fake blood. And guys, look how cool this looks. My parents actually thought I put a needle through my hand. Luckily, it's only fake. Using a similar method, I'm going to be adding a wooden skewer into my hand. First, I'm snapping my wooden skewer in half. To get rid of any splinters on the wood, I'm just using a nail file and filing away any splinters. Using the same method as we did with the pin, I'm adding some glue into the thin part of the tissue and putting the skewer straight up in the glue. And guys, you probably know how this is going to go, but I'm just going to add some eyelash glue onto my hand and stick the tissue with the skewer on top of it. Using foundation, I'm just blending that with my skin. And for dimension, I'm just adding some black powder around the stab wound. And just add some fake blood, and look how realistic it looks. And look under a torchlight like, ugh, ew, that's so gross. This stab is probably one of the realest looking. So for this, you're going to need chunky staples, and they just look a bit like this. To start, you need to create a large cut using special effects wax. You can watch my previous video to find out how to do that. Before we go any further, I'm just adding some foundation over the wax to blend it with my skin. Using a staple, you need to make some holes over the scar where you want the staples to be. Using a skewer, I'm just adding some black powder onto the end of that, and then adding them into the little holes on my hand. Next, you need to add a base layer of blood, so add little blood blots over the holes and in the cut. Now you can add your staples back into the little holes. Add lots of fake blood, and look how real it looks. Like, ew. Guys, your friends are definitely gonna think this is real. My next stab is involving lots of glass. From an old photo frame, remove the plastic. This is the perfect material to use as glass. With your scissors, cut out random jagged pieces of glass. I'm going to be using around 3 or 4 pieces of glass. With special effects wax, I'm creating cuts, as many as I need for however many shards of glass I'm going to be using. So I'm just going to add the shards of glass into the cuts I've made with the special effects wax. Guys, you can actually use glue stick as the scar wax, so you can just take a bit off the glue stick, rub it in your hands, and make cuts from that. Once your fake glass is in place, you can start adding blood all around the glass and then just pipe loads on. Guys, look how real it looks. This has to be my favourite stab. I hope you enjoyed these stabs, because I definitely enjoyed making them, and I'll see you next week for more videos. Have a great Halloween. Oh guys, happy Halloween! And I'll see you soon. Bye guys!